Audiobook Academy. Book Summary. The Steadfast Tin Soldier. By Hans Christian Andersen. H.C. Andersen is the author of the fairy tale The Steadfast Tin Soldier, also known as The Brave Tin Soldier. This is a tale of bravery, passion, and a tin soldier's love for a paper ballerina. It serves as a gentle reminder that not every love story ends happily. There once were 25 tin soldiers, and since they were all manufactured from the same tin spoon, they were all brothers. They had red and blue outfits, carried guns on their shoulders, and had unwavering forward gazes. When the lid of the box in which they were sleeping was removed, the first words they heard were "Tin soldiers," said by a young child, who excitedly clapped his hands. With the exception of the last soldier, which was constructed when the material ran out, every soldier was identical to the others. A soldier was the only one to stand with just one leg while the others all did. On the table that the youngster had set them on, other toys were organized, but the most stunning of all of them was a lovely, little cardboard castle with windows through which one could see the rooms. Small trees and a tiny mirror that acted as a lake, in which wax swans swam, were in front of the castle. The most lovely thing, though, was a young child who was waiting at the castle's open door. She resembled a paper cutout, wearing a ballerina dress made of the finest muslin and a blue scarf with a golden paper rose the size of her head in the middle to fasten it around her shoulders. The lovely paper girl, a ballerina, had both arms outstretched, and the one-legged tin soldier fell in love with her at once. "That woman is the one for me, but she is too aristocratic and lives in a castle, whereas I just have a box to live in with the 5 of us. That is no place for her. Still, I have to make an effort to get to know her." The graceful dancer continued to stand on one leg without losing her balance as he hid behind a snuff box that was sitting on a table. All of the other tin soldiers entered their boxes when darkness fell, and everyone went to bed. The toys then began to interact, dance, and fight. Because they were unable to open the lid, the tin soldiers in their box rattled as they yearned to be outside as well. The canary woke up and started speaking to the nutcrackers in rhymes as they started to fidget and the pen started to slide across the tile. A toy soldier and a small ballerina were the only 2 who remained seated. He steadily stood on one leg while keeping his gaze fixed on her face as she stood on the tip of her finger with her arms wide. The hour was 12. The snuff lid opened, but there was no snuff inside, only a tiny black goblin, a fantastic being that greeted the toy army and was more mischievous than a fairy. The goblin advised the tin soldier, "Don't wish for what is not yours." He believed he had instructed the tin soldier to avoid staring at the small dancer, but the soldier pretended he hadn't heard. The soldier was pushed to the window when the youngster moved it when it was morning, but as soon as the window opened, the soldier was blown out onto the pavement by the draft. The window sprang open, and the tin soldier plummeted from the 3rd story, heels over head, into the street below. It is unknown if the goblin or the draft was responsible. He fell horribly, landing on his head with his helmet and bayonet wedged between the flagstones and his one leg up. The maid and the young kid ran down to check for him right away, but although being so close to him that they almost crushed him, they failed to see him. The soldier thought it was improper for him to yell for aid because he was wearing a uniform, but they would have definitely discovered him if he had simply called out, "Here I am." Soon it started to do, and as the drops fell, they came down faster and faster until they became a downpour. 2 boys came along once the rain stopped and noticed a toy soldier. They reasoned that sending him out on the water in a paper boat would be a smart idea. They then used the newspaper to construct a little boat, put a metal soldier inside it, and let him sail up and down the gutter as the 2 youngsters raced beside him clapping their hands. What significant waves appeared in that gutter, my goodness! And how quickly the stream moved forward. The paper boat sped up and down, and in the creek's middle it moved so quickly that the tin soldier briefly trembled. Despite this, he persisted, exhibiting no sign of emotion while maintaining a straight-ahead gaze and keeping his rifle over his shoulder. The boat abruptly passed into a lengthy, pitch-black tunnel. He wondered, "Where am I headed now? I'm positive the black goblin is to blame for this. Well, I wouldn't mind the darkness if the tiny lady were just here with me in the boat." Unexpectedly, a sizable water rat living in the tunnel approached him and inquired about his passport. The tin soldier, though, kept quiet and clenched his rifle even more. The rat chased the boat as it continued to move quickly. "Stop him, stop him, he has not paid toll and has not displayed his pass," he cried out to the pieces of wood and straw as he gritted his teeth. However, the current accelerated and grew stronger. Where the tunnel came to an end, the tin soldier had already seen the light, but a sound so loud echoed in his ears that any brave man would have been terrified. The tin soldier was just as vulnerable to harm as the rest of us as we descended the waterfall at the end of the tunnel, where a gutter overflowed into a sizable canal. He was no longer able to tolerate it because he was so near to him. The unfortunate tin soldier clung to the boat as rigidly as he could as it sailed away. The boat whirled around 3 or 4 times before becoming completely submerged in water. As the boat dropped more and further, the paper softened and the tin soldier remained motionless. The water was currently above his head. When he heard the words "farewell, warrior," they only rang in his ears as he thought about a lovely young ballerina whose face he would never see again. Constantly fearless, advancing to your grave. The soldier fell farther and further as the paper was torn in two, eventually being devoured whole by a huge fish. Oh, how dim the fish's inside was. Much darker and narrower than in the tunnel, but the tin soldier remained steadfast and lay fully extended shouldering his musket. The fish moved around, trembled, swayed, and then all of a sudden became absolutely calm. Then, as though by a bolt of lightning, the light of day broke through him, and a voice yelled, "I proclaim here is the tin soldier." The fish was captured, transported to the market, and sold. A chef later discovered the fish and used a knife to clean and prepare it for lunch. Everyone in the room wanted to see the hero discovered in the fish, so the cook took the soldier and held him between his fingers. The tin soldier, however, had no sense of bragging. He immediately realized he had been in this room before as he was placed on the table. He noticed the identical youngster, the identical toys on the table, the identical large castle, and the identical small ballerina. She had her hands raised in the air and was still standing on one leg. The tin soldier was particularly amazed by her ability to stand strong. He was on the verge of crying, but soldiers shouldn't do that. She didn't respond when he stared at her. Without any provocation, the young kid suddenly seized the tin soldier and flung him into the furnace. The goblin was undoubtedly somehow involved in this, though. The tin soldier felt the heat of the fire burning inside as he lay in the furnace. He could not tell whether the heat was coming from the real fire or the fire of love, but the flames lit up the tin soldier as he stood. Then he noticed that his uniform's vibrant colors had faded, but nobody knew if this was due to the effects of his sorrow or the travel itself. The small girl returned his gaze as he returned hers. Despite feeling like he was melting away, he held tight while carrying his revolver. The little ballerina fluttered like a fairy to the tin soldier in the furnace, flared, and that was the end of it as the door suddenly opened and the draft caught up with her. The maid discovered a melted heart-shaped piece of tin when she removed the ashes from the previous night after the tin soldier had melted into a little lump. The little ballerina was gone, but her rose was gilded, burned, and stayed as dark as coal. Thank you for listening in Audiobook Academy. Don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button for more content like this. See you in next video.